The archaeologists walked cautiously through the opening of a massive structure in the sands, a few miles from Aswan, Egypt. Light glimmers against walls spread with old debris leftovers of flames, long doused as the travelers creep further inside. They run over a surprising sight. Archaeologists discovered an unsettling ancient structure in an Egyptian cave, which holds secrets that have been hidden for millennia. But before we get started, the best way to keep up with the most recent and greatest historical journeys content is to subscribe to our channel. It resembles having an immediate line to our channel. Let's get started. The construction had not been investigated previously, and it was an ideal objective for the Egyptian-Italian mission at West Aswan in Malwa. The global group cooperated to uncover the mysteries of the structure. Incredibly, they found a burial chamber that held totally new and startling finds, as the tomb was discovered by archaeologists. The main thing that struck them was the way huge it was. The ancient Greeks and Romans used the burial ground that is now marked at GH032. Indeed, even in those days, grave burglars had stripped the spot. Yet the researcher before long found, however, that these cheats had not grabbed all that of significant worth and interest. The Amala project, which started in 2018, has a sense of urgency. Their date was provoked by doubts that advanced grave burglars were working. It was believed that cheats had started to burrow into these vestiges nearby this one. The clamoring city, a middle for the travel industry in southern Egypt, lies on the Nile waterway, close to its originally set of rapids. The Egyptian Service of Relics concluded that the most ideal way to battle unlawful digging was to begin unearthings of its own. It did so alongside University of Milan archaeologists. Together, they are capable not exclusively to dive into, yet in addition look after the necropolis close to the city. Since the beginning in 2018, Italy and Egypt have worked together on the joint mission to the west of the Swan. The university has provided the majority of the program's funding, and the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has also provided financial support in the form of both official recognition and hard cash. The undertaking has focused on the Aga Khan tomb. Closest one of extraordinary interest has been the northern piece of the sepulchre's grounds. A series of rock-cut structures can be seen there. The tombs that lie beneath them have recently been the focus of the team's attention. But what's the point of this mausoleum? A few miles from Aswan Center, it is Muhammad Shah Aga Khan's tomb. He was the Imam of the Ismaili part of Muslims. He was a prominent leader in India at the time, and he also contributed significantly to the establishment of Pakistan. Why is he covered in India, however? The Aga Khan had European schooling in childhood, which placed him in an advantageous position for the job he took on in 1885. He held a position that brought him great wealth for the 48th time, but he later lost his leg to paralysis. The pioneer was advised to come to Aswan to recuperate. He chose to be buried there because of how much he liked the pretty structure and pink granite. The Aga Khan's tomb, which he built for himself, looks like the Fatimid tombs in Cairo, which are close to the St. Simeon's Monastery. For pioneers since the Imam was let go in 1957. He was joined there by his better half, hobo mother propensity, and noted donor upon her passing in 2000. The actual Swan has a long history. Back in antiquated Egyptian times, it went by the name of Swenet, sitting right on the country's outskirts with Nubia. Its name should come from the Egyptian sign for market or exchange board from that goddess name. She was a childbirth, which is appropriate for a country's entry point. The Swan was celebrated for its quarries, which provided cyanide. Around 300 tombs were located in these, which the mission was able to map and begin exploring in 2019. One tomb in particular was a very exciting find. It was a GH006 and contained at least 35 mummies. There were also signs that the tomb had been used for many centuries. From the time of the Ptolemaic pharaohs and the 3rd century BC until the time of the Romans, people may have been buried there. According to the Antiquities Minister Khalid al-Ansari and prominent Italian archaeologists Patrizia Piazza and Tini, the tomb was home to a variety of people, including men, women, and children. A couple of bodies who might have been mother and kid were looking great, yet a considerable lot of different mummies had been genuinely harmed. Nevertheless, more was to come. Death masks, wooden statuettes, pottery, and some of the bitumen used to make mummies were among the other items on display at the site. The archaeologists had the option to figure out who had been covered in the burial place. According to the UK newspaper The Guardian, a local tradesman named Dr. P.S. Antini, hieroglyphics revealed that it was Jet's burial site. It's a vital revelation since we added something to the historical backdrop of a swan that was absent. We were aware of tombs and necropolia that date back to the 2nd and 3rd millennia, but we were unaware of the locations of the people who lived during the final phase of the pharaoh's reign. The Scholastic proceeded to bring up that in its day, Aswan had been an exceptionally huge exchanging center point 2021. The mission tried harder, and it made an immense gen, as it turned out. Special disclosure. Dr. P.S. and Minuscule and her partner from the Directorate of Relics of Aswan and Nubia of Delmanain said uncovered the consequences of 5 months of exhuming. It was a burial place that appeared to house individuals from one family. What was extraordinary about this burial chamber was that the group found it inside a structure that sits over the ground. As a rule, you will track down burial chambers in the necropolis, either under the sands or cut into the slopes of rock. The design that this one sits in had a particular reason the archaeologists accept it was a scene for penance. Dr. P.S. and little made sense of for the existent science site. It appears to be that because of its situation along a valley of admittance to the necropolis, this building was utilized as a sacrosanct nook where penances were proposed to the god Kam as Era's maker god and defender of the fruitful surges of the Nile, especially loved in Aswan, who better than him might have satisfied the timeless existence of the people who rested in this necropolis. The god Khnum was a figure of love for around 3 centuries from the 2900s BCE until the initial not many hundreds of years promotion typically envisioned as either a slam or a smash-headed man. He was remembered to have made individuals since it was accepted he rejuvenated individuals utilizing mud portrayals of him with a potter's wheel were ordinary. Khum's called first developed at her work, which is near Al-Ashman in Focal Egypt. Yet from the 1500s BC, he began to be related with Huge, an island close to Aswan. It makes perfect sense that the locals would have offered sacrifices to this powerful deity, because he was quickly regarded as the lord of the First Cataract, also known as the nearby Nile Rapids. What made it almost certain that the construction was utilized for penance was that there were marks made by fire on the structure's walls, perhaps the consequence of services that elaborate contributions. While Dr. P.S. and Teeny acknowledged that the burning could likewise have been brought about by grave burglars, there were additionally adjusts bones of creatures and the remaining parts of plants viewed as inside. Truth be told, the burial place, which has remained looking great, notwithstanding its incredible age, has enormous sums flotsam and jetsam from accept penances. The bones are generally from rams. The creatures firmly connected with Kam and littered among them are shards of ceramics and plates that are covered with hieroglyphics. It was a mummy of another youngster. Also, when analysts utilized X-beams to explore all the more intently, they found something lying upon the child's chest hole. It was a plague, possibly to mark its arrival in the afterlife. The youngsters are only 2 of the 30-odd new mummies found. It's idea that they all have a place with one family. In addition, the range of individuals in the turret is extensive, ranging from infants to some elderly individuals who would have been suffering from arthritis that was still present in their joints. The vast majority of the mummies were viewed as in for entombment areas. A portion of the mummies have remained with everything looking good, notwithstanding going back 1,000s of years. Others, however, have had their wrapping and cartonnage cut by the cheats who might have been looking for resources covered alongside the bodies. They might have utilized a blade that archaeologists saw as right close to the mummies, with both the 8GH026 and 8GH032. Uncovered tombs. The following stage for the mission was to analyze the mummies, around 75 of them, and every one of. The scientists expected to evaluate the age and orientation of individuals covered and whether they had any illnesses. The team brought in a portable X-ray machine to take X-rays. It turned out that nearly a third of the mummies in the AGH0 to 62 were children between the ages of 1 and 10. The other bodies were practically all females. Specialists found no less than 3 gatherings that appear to be families. A mother, father, and child all laid close to each other. Close assessment of the mummy's bones uncovered that they had experienced irresistible illnesses and at times metabolic issues. One adult had even had one of their legs cut away, and it was sure that they endured the activity. Since the bone had somewhat fixed itself a short time later, a few bodies had arthrosis, a definite sign that they had partaken in an extensive life. According to the exhuming group site, mummies were by all accounts not the only things tracked down nearby. The analysts likewise revealed stone coffins made of mud or stone, which were still looking great. They were brightly colored and could be dated to the end of the pharaoh's reign, the Roman era, because 5 of the vessels and pieces from others were stored. Among the curios found in the burial place was a bowl which had been extravagantly enriched. The strategy is known as a la Barber group, where an earthenware glue is applied before the bowl is terminated. Probably the vessel was planned to be utilized in the hereafter by somebody covered in the burial place. Tragically, the stoneware had broken into pieces. A wide range of different things were tracked down, all dating to the Greco-Roman timeframe. They included sculptures of the Sway Berg and pieces of mortar, which actually show their tones. That is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.